Every architect's dream is to actually design something iconic, but clients usually say, can we reduce the cost?
I think one of the earliest duplexes I did, that was around like 221 or 220, I think COVID year. The material schedule for the door was very, very particular. I think I needed a type of mahogany. The client also agreed at first because, in fact, it was the one that imputed that we needed particular types of wood. So money ran low.
Money around.
You can't probe the client's finances. You just have to accept. So and we wanted to do that. We wanted to do that. That was very, very instrumental to the beauty of that project, to the aesthetic of the project. So all of a sudden, the client now had a change of mind and was like, no, 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 no. And we had the back and forth. I had to try to cajole him to look for a cheaper alternative. There was a situation where I think we had specified rebars for a construction, and those rebars were specified by the structural engineer, and the client proceeded to purchase, he bypassed and purchased a lower version of it, and said we must use it. I think that made me leave that particular left it because I didn't want blood on my hands. I didn't want blood on my hands. He's not an engineer, he's not in the built environment, but he just wanted it so. This caused a fracture. I was like, no. I had to report back to the company, and like we had intervention from maybe people mediated, a lot of people mediated before he could even see the light, and he still insisted until he got that particular size he wanted.
He got that small size.
He got that size he wanted. It was a very difficult one. At that time, I had already traveled and left.
Okay, you left the project.
I left the project at that time. I already delivered other things, but the size of the bathroom, that was the only non-negotiable. I couldn't.
I admire the fact that you are not willing to compromise.
No. It's always advisable. We've had like almost 8 situations where I've even signed agreements that okay, I have I will take no part for this. I have no liability. I have nothing to accept in case of any eventualities. I don't subscribe to allowing the client get their way all the time. Although they are the financer of the project and the owner of the project, but they have to accept the standard.
Speaking of compromise, let's dive into a corruption question. Sometimes building bypasses proper approvals. Have you ever been in a situation whereby you have to bypass? Maybe a client was trying to save money, they don't want to register, they don't want to do any stamping or whatever. Have you been able to handle threats like that or situations like that?
Those situations happen when you're not well informed, and if you don't have the ability to inform the client. I've been in a situation, like, because I've done a lot of remodeling, I've been in a situation where the project that was already built, when we went to remodel it, we noticed most of those things. And once the development control guys came in, we had to also explain to them the acceptable, because they were giving us the wrong regulation and they wanted to enforce a wrong rule. So you need information to be able to say, okay, you confidently say, this is the setback for bungalows. It's different from the setback for this. This is, and now, because people bypass this, it has adverse effects. Right now, we are having a scourge of heat wave.
Yes, that's true.
Because there is no vegetation buildings. So the problem,
this thing is actually a very
big problem.
Wow.
If it's that corruption, if you want to speak about it and how it has affected the average Nigerian adversely, because we as architects, we owe it to our profession and to Nigerians to ensure that each building meets requirements, especially as ensuring good indoor and outdoor air quality, because right now the heat wave is a problem because of the prevalence of concrete and its radiation properties. We are suffering. Black as a color absorbs heat. So you're absorbing heat inside. Although now we have the pandemic of white buildings everywhere, but people don't know the danger in using the black roof. That color blue is warmer, doesn't absorb heat. Now we have people doing the whole lintel roof. Yeah, and those lintel roof, the headroom, the difference from the headroom is very low. So the roof is not absorbing heat and transferring the heat down, and then we have small punctures on walls called windows. So there's no heat exchange. So the corruption is affecting Nigerians adversely. So it's up to us as architects to ensure that we start correcting that, especially us as young ones.
If you were given a position or an office to actually make those changes, what would you do?
Now, let's say by virtue of government appointment, you're now included in the development control team, with those that go around to ensure that those laws are enforced. although we have a body,
Yes.
that's the National Institute and the Architects Registration Council, that's NIA and ACON.
Yeah.
And we are still in the process of actually doing that. But now, speaking on my own personal experience, on my own personal opinion, how to enforce this, how to ensure that these things are enforced is by using appropriate channels. The importance of advertising, social media, people are on social media 24/7. Social media, even town crime. That's the lighter word, even town crime.
Honestly.
Then enforcing and ensuring that people pay the requisite fines. They must actually pay the fine. So Nigerians are afraid of the whole fines. There's not going to be VDM here. Because if people die. So that's the lighter mood. But I'll ensure that if I'm in that position, I'll ensure that enforcement is very stringent. Very, very stringent. Yeah.